We're going to get started here. Thank you for being here with us despite the rain and kind of crappy weather that we have going on. For those who don't know me, my name is Jocelyn Mahalik. I am the Visitor Services and Store Coordinator here at the museum. And on the behalf of the Wisconsin Maritime Museum, I would like to thank you all for coming out here tonight for our first 2026 program of our monthly speaker series, Think and Drink. Think and Drink is a free event. We hold it on the first Thursday of every month. Each presentation is based around a yearly theme. We're able to host this series thanks to a grant from the Green Bay Packers Foundation, and we are very grateful for that support. If you enjoy this program and want to help us keep this a free program and accessible to all, please consider supporting our museum by becoming either a member or even just making a donation. The 2026 theme is catastrophe and moments of resilience, the moments of loss, survival, and transformation that leave lasting marks on people and places. This year's talks will span shipwrecks and storms, technological failures, and natural calamities. We will explore both well-known tragedies like the Titanic, as well as lesser-known disasters that shaped Wisconsin, as well as our broader world. Tonight, we are pleased to welcome the Executive Director of the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District, Kevin Schafer. MMSD is a regional government agency that provides water reclamation and flood management services for more than 1.1 million customers in 29 communities in the greater Milwaukee area. Under his leadership, MMSD has received numerous industry honors, including the U.S. Water Prize. He currently holds several board positions and brings extensive experience in civil engineering, as well as water resource advocacy in his role. Kevin will share with us the story of the August 2025 storm and flooding and an overview of the various MMSD initiatives and that worked hand in hand to reduce the impacts of this 1,000-year storm. Finally, please feel free to get up at any time during our presentation. We have the bar in the back there. As always, we're thinking and drinking tonight. But without further ado, I do ask that you guys keep all the questions to the end and welcome me in introducing Kevin Schafer.
Good evening, everyone. When I said I was going to do this about 2 months ago, I thought, oh, it's going to snow and it's going to be terrible. And I'm going to have to drive up there and then stay the night. But I never thought we'd have a rainstorm or a thunderstorm on January 8th. Thank you for having me. I've been doing this job since 2002. So I've been the executive director at the district since 2002. I was head of engineering for 4 years prior to that. I'm a civil engineer from Central Illinois, University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana. You too? Okay. I thought, another one. Hey, great. Yeah. So grew up in Rantoul, which is right next to that, and my mom still lives down in the Illinois area, so it's always fun. But what a great facility this is. It's really nice to have something like this and to see people come out on the weather when the weather's like this. I'm going to talk about some of the initiatives that MMSD has ongoing, and then I'm going to talk about the storm that occurred in August of last year. The timing for this is really good because if you get the Journal Sentinel or you can go online and look at it, today they ran a story that said as of 2 days ago, FEMA has spent $195 million paying private citizens to fix their basements, everything that flooded out through this storm. So the timing is good there. And then it also said that for the next 15 years, they're estimating $16 billion more of damages that we're going to have to face. So the question today is, do we wait for that to occur, or do we try to do something proactive to stop it from doing as much damage? So I'll go through this and then questions at the end, it sounds like. Everyone can hear me okay? Okay. This is the best picture of Milwaukee. You have the wastewater treatment plant in the foreground looking off to the north at the city itself, the Hone Bridge there to the right. In 2009, so I took this position in 2002. In 2009, I wrote a vision for the year 2035. I said, this is what I want us to be at that time, 26 years later. Zero overflow, so we'll talk about some of this. Zero sanitary sewer overflow, zero combined sewer overflow, zero homes in the 100-year floodplain, and then different initiatives on the left side, which is the integrated watershed approach. The right side is the climate adaptation mitigation goals, 100% energy self-produced or renewable, with 80% of that being self-produced, and then some carbon sequestration projects that we have. This document really jump-started a lot of efforts at MMSD to help us be better prepared for the storm that we had last August. Just a snapshot of what MMSD's area looks like. It's 1.1 million people, 29 different municipalities, 423 square miles. So if you know where St. Mary's Hospital is in Thiensville, Mequon area, that's about the northern edge of our service area. It goes down through the entire county of Milwaukee except for South Milwaukee. That's not part of our area. Down to the Racine County line, the lakefront on the east, and then the subcontinental divide is on the west, which is where the water either goes to the Mississippi River or to the Lake Michigan. So that's the divide. The hatched area that you see in the middle of this map is called a combined sewer. So this is the oldest part, and there's like 711 of these cities, 711 cities in the country that have combined sewers like this. But in that hatched area, there's one pipe that carries both stormwater, rainwater like you have out here now, plus sanitary flow. The rest of that area is a separate sewer area, which has two pipes or a ditch, a pipe or a ditch to carry stormwater and a pipe to carry the sanitary flow. So when I started the district, we only thought about political boundaries. We said, we're only going to do work within Milwaukee County or do certain areas. And I said, water doesn't stop at a political boundary, it flows downhill. So I said we have to start looking at things from a watershed scale. So I'm going to talk about various projects that we're doing throughout the watershed, show what we've done, and then I'll get into the storm of 2025, just 6 months ago. So water reclamation at our two wastewater plants, flood management, green infrastructure, some call this natural infrastructure, green seams, working soils, reforestation, wetland restoration project, and then something that's going on throughout the Great Lakes that EPA sponsors. It's called areas of concern. These are old industrial areas that have been highly polluted. Do you have one here? Where's Blue Harbor? Sheboygan. Okay. In Sheboygan, that's an area of concern that's been cleaned up. So that was one that's been done. So we're working on one in the area of Milwaukee Estuary. So here's our two water reclamation facilities. Jones Island, the one on the left, you just saw the nighttime picture of it. Here's the daytime picture of it. It can treat up to 390 million gallons a day. On a normal day, it treats about 60 million gallons a day, 60, 65. It's in downtown Milwaukee. The South Shore plant is in Oak Creek, which is on the south side of our service area. That one can go up to 300 million gallons a day, and it treats about 60, 65 million a day. So on a dry day, we're treating 120 million gallons of wastewater. But when it rains, we get a lot of water into the system, and we have to treat that. And that's when the plants ramp up to treat it. And the treatment process is pretty much the same as anywhere in the country. It's preliminary, which is screening, primary, where you settle out some of the material. We have secondary, where we have microorganisms. If you ever played Pac-Man, so they're the little Pac-Man. They're in there eating the pollutants that are in the waterways. And then those bodies of those Pac-Man, those microorganisms, is what Milorganite is made out of. And then we disinfect and chlorinate and dechlorinate at the end. Has anyone used Milorganite? Does anyone not know what Milorganite is? Okay, good. Milwaukee Organic Nitrogen. This is our 100-year anniversary. We started making Milorganite in 1926. So we're going to celebrate this summer the production of this product. We take those dead microorganisms that fall to the bottom of these tanks. We take them to a building where we dewater them. We dry them to 170 degrees to kill pathogens. Then we bag it, and then we sell it. Right now, we're selling about $11 million a year, plus or minus, of Milorganite throughout the country. This revenue helps us offset our rate increases for folks. So it helps to keep our prices low. It's a very sustainable way to get rid of biosolids. Sludge, biosolids, we kind of use those terms interchangeably. You know, we used to say sludge, but now it just sounds better to say biosolids. The deep tunnel. I'm sure you've heard about the deep tunnel. This is the greatest piece of water infrastructure in the state of Wisconsin. This project was built, originally started in the 1970s, 1980s, right after the Clean Water Act passed in 1972. It was completed in 1993, and prior to the tunnel coming online, we averaged 50 to 60 combined sewer overflows per year. Right now, we're averaging just 2. So we went from 50 to 60 down to 2. So we've done a really good job of managing that flow. The tunnel on the left was the original tunnel. In my 24 years, I guess it's been 23, 24 years that I've been at the district, we've added those 2 tunnels on the right. One is the 27th Street Tunnel, and one is the Northwest Side Tunnel. When I came to the district, we had 405 million gallons of storage. Now we have 521 million gallons of storage. So on a wet day, we can store 521 million gallons of water. We can treat 690 million gallons of water at the treatment plants, but we still have times when too much water hits our system and we have to have an overflow. Since the tunnel came online in 93, we've captured and cleaned 98.6% of all the water that's come to us. There's not a combined sewer system in the country that has a better record than this. EPA requires us to be greater than 85%. We're at 98.6. So we're much better than EPA and DNR require. And it says since 94. Tunnel came online in August of 93. So 94 is the first full year. And you see the gentleman standing there, he's got a Veolia logo. We also have a private operator that operates our system for us. We've had a private operator since 1998, and Veolia is the current operator for that. So it's a public-private partnership. And we also do flood management. So we don't just do wastewater and treat wastewater. We also do flood management in the area. We've taken the approach that we don't want to add more concrete to the waterways. We want to naturalize the waterways. We want to try to restore it as much as we can to a natural system. So, can you see that? Oh, good, you can. So this is Lincoln Creek. This is on the near northwest side of our service area. This was constructed and finished around 2006, 2007. This used to be a trapezoidal concrete line channel that just shot the water downstream. We have a lot of our waterways were that way, and we've had several deaths on these concrete line channels because the water moves so fast. Children think it's a great place to play. They get in there, the parents go. So just 3-4 years ago, we had 3 deaths on the Kinnickinnic River from a high flow like that. So we're trying to slow that water down, try to keep it in a natural setting, and try to bring habitat back as well. This is Underwood Creek on the west side out in West Dallas and Wauwatosa. This is Pulaski Park. This is the Kinnickinnic River going through Pulaski Park. This is a great partnership with Milwaukee County Parks where we took out the concrete line channels and naturalized that. In exchange for letting us work in their park, we build playgrounds and other things for them. So it's a really nice relationship. And the project on the left, lower left, I'll show you that in August 2025, but that is what's called County Grounds Project. This is a large basin that stores stormwater, floodwater. If you look at it, you think it just looks like an open area, but it actually stores a lot of water. So as part of our flood management effort, you've got these huge projects that we're doing along the waterways, but in the neighborhoods where the water falls, we're trying to keep that water from rushing downstream and causing damages downstream. So we're implementing what's called green infrastructure or natural infrastructure. We are putting rain barrels on the bottom of downspouts from roofs. We are putting in green roofs, which you see in the bottom picture. We're building rain gardens, which you see on the upper right. And then we're going into schools and different industries and taking asphalt parking lots, making them smaller and greening them up, as you see in this picture on the left. That 150 million gallons was from a year ago. We're at about 170, 175 million gallons now that we can store. So every time it rains, our green infrastructure captures 170 million gallons of water on top of the 690 that we can treat at the plants, on top of what we can store in the tunnel, and on top of what we can store in our flood management. Here's some more pictures of green infrastructure. Cudahy parking lot, upper left, a bioswale in the top middle. a downtown bioswale on the right. And if you've driven over the Marquette interchange downtown Milwaukee, that's what it looks like underneath when it's not covered in snow, but in the summer. And we put that in there because these downspouts off the freeway used to go right into the river or into the sewer system. By doing projects like this, we can divert that water off and put it into a natural setting and try to infiltrate it into the ground. I showed you some projects up in the watershed as well. I should slow down, I'm going too fast. Just like, green seams. So we started green seams in 2002 as well. This is an effort where it's a voluntary purchase of land in the floodplain, mostly along the rivers, where we purchase the land, we put a conservation easement on it so it can never be developed again. And then we go in and we replant that with natural vegetation. We've got about 6,500 acres, I think, right now of this land in the Milwaukee and various watersheds. And we calculate about 3.1 billion gallons of water can be stored on this open land. So we're trying to prevent it from being paved over, forcing that water downstream. We also have a really great project that we started with the farming community called Working Soils. So we are paying farmers to do better management of water runoff from their properties and yet still allow them to have good yields from their crops. It helps us reduce water pollution going downstream. These are things like cover crops, putting in different types of controls from runoff from the fields. And it's partially paid for by USDA. Well, it used to be paid for by USDA. We don't have any money from them right now. And MMSD. And we think that's storing about 840 million gallons of water. There's a theme to all of this. Try to store water where it falls so it doesn't flow downstream and cause problems either with the sanitary sewer system or flooding someone's house or home out. And this project's one of the newer ones. We started this about 5 years ago. This is the Reforestation Wetland Restoration Project. When I thought about this project, I can't see the bottom, a whole list of partners, but the first ones I called was Ducks Unlimited. I don't know if there's any DU members here. You are? Mm-hmm. What a phenomenal organization. I mean, I made a phone call. Next thing I knew, I just stood back and let them go. They were just taking off. I just learned today that DU recognized MMSD as their 2025 local partner for the year. So I just was reading the email as I sat here. But anyway, what this project is hoping to do is to plant 6 million trees throughout the greater Milwaukee watersheds. This is in urban areas, suburban, rural. We're also wanting to restore 4,000 acres of wetlands. We're doing it for the flood management, stormwater issue. Ducks is doing it to bring habitat back for the waterfowl. And then there's a whole slew of partners that you can't see, but DNR, MMSD, Milwaukee County Parks, Conservation Fund, Sewer Pack, others. So the area of concern that I mentioned, so there's 43 areas of concern around the Great Lakes in all the different provinces and states around the Great Lakes. And EPA has identified these areas as areas that they want to go in and target funding to try to improve water quality. And to improve the habitat in those areas. So they've started work, as I talked about in Sheboygan, they've completed that one. And so in 2019, 2020, they named the Milwaukee Estuary as a priority area of concern, AOC. And so we started working with them pretty actively. The lower right picture is a dam that's no longer there. It's called Estabrook Dam. This dam was closed down by DNR because it was not safe to operate anymore. And it was just sitting there. And instead of rebuilding that dam, we tore it out. MMSD tore it out for about $2 million, which was all paid for by the federal government. The lower left picture is Burnham Canal. So you got the Menominee River coming here, Milwaukee River going there. Back in the 1800s, they built these canals. Menominee Canal and the Burnham Canal, which look like pitchfork or tuning forks. And so that one that's Burnham Canal, We've completed a phase 1 cleanup of that. We're going to fill it with soils, create a wetland in the Menominee Valley. Corey Zetz, who we know has been a big partner on this, and she's helped us move this along. So this will be, it's in design, going into design this year, and we'll probably be constructing in 2028 or 2027. The upper left picture is the Clutch Dam. This is in Glendale, Wisconsin. And when Milwaukee was developing, they needed limestone, they needed stone to build their buildings, roads, parking lots. So what they did is they actually mined the bottom of the rivers. So they started downstream and worked upstream, and at some point they stopped, and this is where they stopped. So it's a man-made dam, waterfall, whatever you want to call it. But it was made when they were mining this rock from the bottom of the river. It was just easier to get to the rock. It was right there, so they just did it. We would never be able to do this today if they were doing that. Yeah, I wouldn't even want to ask. So that was a dam in Glendale, Clutch Park. It was preventing fish from migrating upstream. So MMSD came in and built that canal that goes around. It's a fish passage that was completed in late 2023, and it's now operational. So now fish can get around that dam and migrate upstream. Again, paid for by EPA. Then the largest project is that one in the upper right. This is the Dredge Material Management Facility, a great partnership with Milwaukee County, Port of Milwaukee. And here, MMSD, we're paying about $125 million to build a large storage vessel right on the lakefront. It is completed. It'll be done in May of this year. And then EPA will come along and they'll dredge contaminated sediments out of the bottom of the harbor and place them in this facility and store them there for perpetuity. John Gerda, anyone know John Gerda? Oh, he's a famous historian in Milwaukee. In fact, I finished with a video from him. He said that these projects are fixing the sins of our fathers. We have our own boat. It's a water skimmer. We went through a naming contest and we called it Leonard Skimmer. So it goes along, if you know the band. And basically where you see those teeth, it's just a conveyor belt. If there's something floating, trees, trash, anything, it picks it up, puts it in the back of the boat. We take it to the port it empties the boat, and then we go back. We went through the naming contest, named it this, and like 2 months later, the band came and played at the Riverside Theater. So I dressed as cool as I could and went down there and had my picture taken with them on the boat. But it was fun. There's some fun things in this job. And we also know that we use a lot of energy in our wastewater plants and our treatment plants. So we're trying to recover everything that we can from that treatment process. Milorganite is a product where we're recovering nutrients, and we've been doing that for 100 years. But there's other things we can do as well. And because it's part of that vision that I talked about, being 100% renewable with 80% self-produced, we have solar panels that are on our top of our buildings. The bottom right picture is at the South Shore plant. When you treat wastewater, the digestion of those biosolids produces methane gas. We capture that gas and we burn it at the plant. We're about 83% self-produced energy at South Shore. The picture on the lower left are 3 turbines that we installed in 2009, 2010. Those turbines burn methane gas that's produced off of landfills. So there's a landfill in Muskego, southwest side of our area. We have a pipeline 19 miles long that they capture that gas, they clean it, they pump it through this pipeline to us. We burn it in these turbines, and you can go on our website and see, but it's about, I think we're about 33% of our energy right now is produced from landfill gas. So this is something, if you ever go by a landfill and you'll see a flare, most places flare it off. We're capturing it. Okay, so all of that stuff that we've been doing for 20, 25, 30, 40 years. And then we get the storm of August 2025. So we have 14 rain gauges throughout the service area. And one of those gauges in a 24-hour period measured 14.65 inches of rain. 14.65 inches of rain, okay. The low gauge of those was 4.17, which before this storm, I would have said was a huge storm or a huge rainfall. The average throughout that 423 square mile area was over 8 inches of rainfall throughout the area in 24 hours. So if I can get these to work, and I think they will, this is the South Shore plant. And what you see here in the middle, and you'll see it in a minute running, this is a weir that was built back in the 60s. So if we ever had a storm like this, it protects the plant from being flooded out. It worked, but this is the first time I've ever seen it operate since the plant came online, or heard that it operated. There we go. We had massive amounts of water coming through our system. I guess I'll do that again. There you go. This is not supposed to happen, right? You're not supposed to see water like this. This is just an emergency situation. And that video was taken about 3 o'clock in the morning on August 10th, Sunday, August 10th. That clutch dam that I showed you with the fish passage that we built, this is in Glendale. This is the Milwaukee River. You don't see the dam. So that 5 or 6 foot drop that I showed you is under there somewhere. It still makes my hands sweat when I see this. I live in Fox Point, which is a northern suburb of Milwaukee. This is, so it was easy for me to get pictures on Sunday morning. I went out and took them. So this is a project where we had completed a flood management project for the 100-year storm. So that we designed for like this 4 or 5 inch rainfall. This is the 14-inch rainfall that we had. And you can see the high water mark where all that debris is built up on that bridge. The project itself functioned very well, even under this huge rainfall that we had. So we're very proud of the flood management work that we did, but there was still a lot of damage because the storm was just more than anyone could handle. This is Lincoln Creek on the near northwest side. That's one of my staff on Monday morning. They went out and measured high water marks. We think it was about 6 feet out of bank there. So if you kind of look at the background, think about how far that water probably reached to get to that. I showed you that county grounds project that we built. This detention facility normally is just a green area that dogs run on, there's trails and so forth. It held 160 million gallons of water from this storm. 160 million gallons right there. So that's flood water that came off the Menominee River, and that helped protect downtown Wauwatosa. It helped protect the Menominee Valley and downtown Milwaukee, which you can kind of see in the background there. This is a problem area. As you can see, this house, the basement walls were washed out. This trash rack is on the, it's actually Honey Creek. It goes underground. If you've ever been at State Fair Park, there's a culvert that goes under State Fair Park, and that's Honey Creek going under the park. Why we did that in the 50s and 60s, I'll never know. I will never know. But now we have this rack to keep people from getting in there and prevent the trash from getting in there. It was cleaned the week before the storm hit. The storm hit, all this debris built up on the rack, and then the water started raising, went over the top, across the road, and started washing out basements downstream. This area is probably one of the highest areas of impact from that storm, negative impact. And you see this man's face, you just feel so sorry for him. And this is Honey Creek in Wauwatosa. It is not supposed to look like that. Okay, this was supposed to be a nice, clean, concrete, trapezoidal channel. It looks like dominoes that you just threw up in the air with these large slabs of concrete. The water came in with such force, it got under that concrete and pushed it straight up and just sent it flying everywhere. We have an emergency project right now that we're going in. We're just trying to stabilize the creek before the next rainy season in March, April. And at least be a little bit prepared for that next storm. It's going to take a while to design the final fix to this. Here's Pulaski Park, the Kinnickinnic River. This is one I showed you before. The picture on the left was taken the night of August 9th. We had 2 storms hit about 9:30, 10 o'clock. The first storm hit, water went up. We thought we were okay. And about 2 o'clock in the morning, the second storm hit. And that's where it was worse than the first storm. So the picture on the left was after that first storm came through. In the picture on the right, you can kind of see the high water mark. But this project functioned exactly the way it was supposed to and protected a lot of homes downstream. So what we know right now is we had the 1,000-year storm hit Milwaukee County. It was pretty much universal throughout the county. The rivers flooded, tunnel and sewers filled up, local sewers filled up, street flooding everywhere. It was bad. Did you have storms up here? Not like that? No, it was. You don't want this. You don't want to be in my job and have this. It was a bad month. We're not sure on the people missing, or this slide came from the original right after the storm. I'm not sure if that's still accurate. We had over 1,800 homes report basement backups in the area. So this is water in people's basements. This kind of shows you where that is. The purple dots are each of the structures that had a basement backup reported. This area right here is where that 15 inches of rainfall hit. But you also see it on the south side where the Kinnickinnic River is. Each community had some sort of basement backup through the area. And then the pie chart shows how the water got into the basement, whether it came up through the floor drain, sump pump failed, through the cracks in the wall, or through window wells. So this is my immediate future. I need to try to do something to try to prevent this from happening again. I need to drive the district to the point where we can we won't get all of them, but maybe make half these dots not be there, right? Try to protect as many people as we can. That's our mission. So we know that Jones Island water reclamation operated throughout the storm with no damages. South Shore was flooded out, but it continued to operate. So that weir that I showed you that was flowing, the plant still operated. It still treated water. We never lost power to it, which is kind of amazing considering what it got hit with. The flood management projects worked well, but it was a much larger storm than they were designed to handle. The green infrastructure functioned well. And we know since 2000, we've removed and the homes are still there. We just reduced the floodplain. We've reduced the floodplain and taken about 2,500 homes out of the 100-year floodplain. If we had not done that work between 2000 and 2025, those 2,500 homes would be in addition to that 1,850 that I showed you. So instead of just throwing up our hands and saying, oh, it's a 1,000-year storm, nothing we can do about it, we're not going to do anything more. MMSD is accelerating our flood management work. The 35th Street Basin, which is on Lincoln Creek, which is kind of in that area where the biggest rainfall fell, that project was supposed to start construction in 2031. Now we're going to start the construction in 2027. It'll be done by 2029. And that's 30 million gallons of storage. Jackson Park will be another 50 million gallons of storage. That one's going to start construction in 2028. Wilson Park, we're just now at preliminary planning for that. We're going to start that planning in 2027. Hopefully have that done by 2035. And then Alro Steel, it's a weird name. It's a manufacturer that we have a basin right next to, so we named it the Alro Steel Basin. That one is 69 million. That'll be about the same time frame as Wilson Park. So we're trying to do where before it was about a 15 to 18 year program for flood management, squeeze it into 10 and try to get it in place as fast as we can. And it's not so much a engineering, design, construction limitation, it's a financial. How do we do this without busting the bank for everyone? So here's John Gerda. I thought everyone knew John Gerda. I just like this thing.
It's not a legacy we asked for. It's not a problem we caused, but here it is anyway. And with that problem comes a great opportunity. Ours to be the first generation in Milwaukee's history to leave our rivers in better shape than we found them for all the generations still to come.
I watch that every January, just roughly up. Yes, sir.
Is he the fella on public television
Yes.
that goes from town to town?
Yep.
Well, I'm sure everybody's seen him.
He writes the bike in. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he rides the bike, and yeah, that's John
Oh,
Gerda.
he's terrific.
Yeah. Yep. And now he's retired, but I think he still does some of those. Yeah. So that's it. We're trying to do what we can. When you get 8 to 9 to 15 inches of rain, it's something you just, you just can't handle that too much. But I don't know if there's questions anyone had. I can try to answer them. And I sure appreciate y'all coming out tonight. I kept looking out to see if it was still raining. I think it's almost stopped. But
Yeah, and they're predicting, they're worrying about flooding because the ground is too hard.
right, it's frozen.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and so are you worried the same way?
Oh yeah. Every time it rains, I'm all over it. And so I didn't talk about this, but the morning of August 9th, when the big storm hit, the night of August 9th, we get a daily forecast, and it's for the whole week. So we get 7 days of daily forecast. Saturday morning, August 9th, they told me we were going to have 0.46 inches of rain. We averaged 8. On Sunday the 10th, they said we were supposed to get 0.6 inches of rain. So over that period, just over an inch, and we had anywhere from 4 to 15. So you can only react to information and we didn't know this one was hitting. I went out for pizza with my family in Mequon on Saturday night, and I'm looking out the window going, doesn't look like 0.4 of an inch of rain here. Ran home. I can turn on the tunnel system from home. And I didn't say this, but when we have an overflow, I'm the one that orders that to happen. So I'm the one that has to make that decision. But I run home, I look at my computer, and I'm like, So yeah, I'm in tune to the rain and the snow. The problem I think we're going to have in the future is we're going to have big snowstorms in February. Then we're going to hit 50-degree weather, and it's going to melt, and it's going to rain on top of that. And that's what's happened. We've seen that happen a couple of times. Do you have a question?
Just an interest. Yeah, my daughter lives in Wauwatosa.
Okay.
She was downtown or whatever the night.
Yeah.
And it was raining and she'd see the flooding around her and whatnot. And she thought to herself, Highland Boulevard I can get home on. I wonder if it's called Highland for a reason.
It probably was.
She got on it. She said it was clear all the way.
Yeah. I got called Sunday morning to go to a press conference, and I live in Fox Point. I had to get on I-43 South to get to where they were doing the press conference. I jumped in my car and started driving there. Interstate 43 was flooded. I've never seen Interstate 43 flooded. It was scary. I was sitting in the car listening to the press conference I was supposed to be at, scared to death because of what we were going through. So it's not fun. Yes,
Do
ma'am.
you know what the weather pattern that caused all this rain? What was the cause of this?
Well, I don't know the total cause, but August 9th was a really hot, muggy day, really muggy. So you have all this water in the air mass. And then that night, the storm came through. And what we see, and I'm sure you see it here as well, if the storm's coming from the west and hits the cold lake, so the lake's always colder, that temperature differential causes the storms to hit. Well, that storm hit, it did not move. It just sat on top of Milwaukee County. And all this air, this humidity that was in the air just fell with it. So we just got it all. Is the kind of the confluence of everything bad that you don't want to happen. Yes, sir.
How long do you think the one in Tulsa, the reservoir there, actually completely drained out?
The county grounds?
I walk my dogs down in that area all the time.
Yeah.
For 20 years, I've never seen it walk.
Until this storm hit, after we built that pond, everyone's like, you overdid it. We never see water in it. Well, we saw water in it for this storm. So we're like, see, it's supposed to do that. It depends on what the river elevation is because it drains by gravity. So if the river's high, the water can't flow out. But I think it was probably like the Wednesday after. So 3 to 4 days, probably.
I saw it was over by the Pauper Cemetery.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. The Pauper Cemetery was underwater.
Did it go into the old Salmon area too?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's actually a really pretty area when it's not full of water. But, it used to. Oh, is there a question here? Oh, yeah.
I missed your political authority. Are you a county agency, a state agency, or just a cooperative agency?
And you didn't miss it because I didn't talk about it, but we're what's called a special district. So we're not a unit of government of the city. We're not a unit of government of the county. We're a special district. So we're a utility that goes over 29 different municipalities. We have our own taxing authority, and we figure out what our program's going to cost, and we send the bill to the 29 municipalities, and then they bill the residents. So, but we're a special district.
So the state basically established you.
Yeah,
Under law.
Yeah, there's state statutes that established MMSD probably in the mid to late 60s. Before that, there was the county MMSD and the city MMSD, and I wasn't here, but from what I understand, the city portion would say, these are the projects we need to build, and then they'd ask the county for the money to do that, and that's when this started happening. So they brought everything together under a special district, and I want to say it was 66, but I'm not sure.
Well, that's probably one of the biggest successes, the ability to do that.
Yeah, no, if to be able to have our own taxing authority and the ability to raise the funds to do the projects, you're right, that is a huge success.
As I remember, most of the state did not like all the pollution coming out of it.
Nope, yeah.
You're
Clean-
polluting and you're making us clean up.
Yep, that was sewer wars, right? Did anyone hear of sewer wars? Okay. So 1972, the Clean Water Act passed. My great home state of Illinois sued Milwaukee and the state of Wisconsin, which resulted in probably 5 to 8 years of planning and design and trying to figure out what to build. We decided we were going to build the deep tunnel system. And that's when the out-of-county communities said, well, we're not causing any of the problems, so we don't want to pay for the deep tunnel. And then it was called sewer wars. I started in 98, sewer wars ended in 96. Thank you. I was out of all the politics of that, and there was severe politics in that.
Yeah, a friend of mine is a civil engineer, or was a civil engineer, and he started with the city of Chicago working on the
MWRD, yeah, sewage
right.
district.
And
Yep.
this was in probably about 72, 73 that he was in there, and he was also going to night school to become a lawyer, and he ended up getting his law degree and then working for the city to follow the lawsuit that he got from Deep Tunnel.
City of Milwaukee or
No,
city of Chicago? Yeah. The Milwaukee tunnel system is really just the little sister of Chicago's. It's basically the same type of design.
I mean, when he would tell us that people were throwing like mattresses down, and trading. So these were the horror stories that they had to deal with, them, which is fine. They came up with the deep tunnel, and
Yeah, we still get soccer balls and basketballs and things like that coming through the sewer system. That's why we have grates to try to get it. But yeah, no, it's a really interesting dynamic to try to play through all of this. But I stay out of the politics and I just keep the engineering side of it going and just have great people to work with, really good people to work with. Yes, ma'am.
So did the flood zone maps get reevaluated after this?
After the storm? Well, they will be. That'll take years to get done. So we just had some phone calls this week about that. So it's something that we're going to have to do. And MMSD doesn't do that. We build these projects, and then each municipality has the authority to go to FEMA to get the maps mapped. So that's the partnership with the municipalities that occurs.
And did most of the people that were flooded out, did they have flood insurance or not?
No.
Flood insurance?
So back to what I said at the very beginning, FEMA came in. Most of them did not have flood insurance, but FEMA came in September, I think it was, maybe October. And they said, we're going to declare the private property as a FEMA emergency project, not the public. So not MMSD, not any of the municipalities. And then the story 2 days ago said they've paid out $195 million to private people. We had about $11 million of damage. We didn't get paid anything on that. We do have insurance that paid part of it, but FEMA didn't help us with that. I know some of the municipalities are just cutting back other benefits that they provide their citizens because they're having to pay for that work. So yeah, no, it's, I think more people will get flood insurance now. Yes, sir.
You talked about the harbor, there would be dredging.
Mhm.
Is there, and then the spoils put
In the DMMF,
behind
yep.
that, is there much land reclamation being done? Or it's not reclamation, really.
For that?
Capturing from the lake shore by doing that? Is that a
40
common in the lake?
It's common around the Great Lakes, and this will add about 42 acres of land along the port. The interesting thing is when we EPA excavate this material from the bottom of the estuary, it's wet and mucky. They're going to put it in this dredge material management facility. It's going to sit there for about 25 years to dry. So it's just going to settle and dry. The city of Milwaukee and the port of Milwaukee are going to they're responsible for pumping the water off the top of that. Then that'll eventually dry over that 25-year period and settle. Once that's done, the port can either make additional port facilities, or it could be a park. It could be anything the public wants. And that was actually one of the controversies at the beginning of that project, what it's going to be 25 years from now. And I said, just let me build it. And y'all can, let our kids decide what it's going to be later. You know, I don't want to decide now and then 25 years when I'm dead, someone's saying, what are you doing? So yeah. But yeah, it'll be 42 acres of land in about 20 years, 25 years.
Well, could they do that with our garbage and junk that we're landfilling now?
A lot of places did that at this location, no. The DNR and the EPA would not allow you to put any type of trash like that into this facility. But Menominee Valley, which is that area where I showed you the tuning forks, a lot of that area was filled with trash and with the byproducts of melting, foundry sand, right? Yep. So all of that was in there. So yeah, EPA would not really allow that much.
Well, a similar soil reclamation project up in the Green Bay area.
Yep.
In Leonard Island.
Yep.
Same type of facility, and decades later, they're still trying to figure out what to do with that.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And the dredging that EPA is going to do in Milwaukee, they're actually following the model that Green Bay used for some of the dredging in the Green Bay itself. So we just learned from other people how to do this stuff, you know. Other questions?
Do you worry about those
PFAS?
Yeah.
Forever chemicals.
Yeah.
PFAS, PFOA. I'm sorry. Yes, we do. Because we take our biosolids and produce malorganite, and then people buy that and spread it on their lawns, we monitor malorganite very closely for PFAS, PFOA, for forever chemicals. We're fortunate we don't have them as much as some communities do in the region, but we monitor what comes into the treatment plant, and then we monitor the malorganite as well. Michigan has some of the strictest limits on PFAS, where I don't remember the unit, but it's less than 20, you're okay. And malorganite's in the 6 to 8 range, so we're much better off there. We still have it. Everyone here has PFAS in your bodies. You may not know that, but you have PFAS in your bodies. Yeah.
The other thing is, all right, those Schafer beads. I mean, I've heard those were.
Oh, the plastic beads. Yep, they are.
That were a problem for the filters and everything, right?
Yeah, we don't have a problem with them at the wastewater plant, but I think the drinking water utilities will or do. And it's the microplastics that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We use plastic. It breaks down, goes into the lake, goes into soils and so forth. So yeah, that's another thing we need to look at. There's a lot we could do to fix stuff if we just change some little things that we would do in our lives. Well, thank you. This was so enjoyable, and I love this. So thank you very much. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here with us tonight. And once again, thank you to Kevin Schafer for being here, making that drive from Milwaukee to share his story with us. Again, our theme for 2026 is catastrophe and moments of resilience. So next month, February 5th, we will actually be hosting author M. Paul Hollander. He will be talking about the Lady Elgin, which became one of the most well-known and worst maritime catastrophes of the Great Lakes. So I hope to see you guys all here next month as well. In the meantime, everyone make a safe trip home. You know, it's a little wet out there right now. It's very fitting for our theme tonight. So thank you all for being here. Once again, if you want to support the museum, consider becoming a member, making a donation, all that fun stuff. But again, have a great night.
Thank you.